Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability, SVTAGS.org. Today I have with me an artist and a book author, and I'm so very honored that you're here today with us, Donald Neff. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be here.
Yeah, and you just actually came off from traveling and visiting your son.
I just got back from Japan,
yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and is this what you've always done?
No, I've done art ever since I was a kid, but I took a pretty roundabout way to become a full-time artist. And if you want to know a little of the story, I was born in Portland, Oregon, but I grew up in Pasadena, California, and believe it or not, a little town in rural East Texas, where I spent my teen years and my 20s. So growing up, I was always drawing, and in high school, I was the cartoonist for the school newspaper and things like that. And I used
How cool!
I used to amaze my mother when I was a little kid with the drawings I did. And but when I got into college, I started pursuing a computer career, and I did that for 30-some years. So I've always...
So you were an engineer, or...?
I was a software programmer.
Okay.
I started way back when there were huge computers hidden way back in the vaults of big corporations.
So when it would have filled up this entire room,
yes,
the supercomputers that were
That's
like
right.
less than anything that we have on our phone now, right? So.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I started with punch cards, actually.
Wow.
Way back then.
I remember
yes.
punch cards.
Yeah.
I think my first retail job when I was like 15 or 16, we had a punch card, time card. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
holes
think
in
they're
it
around anymore.
Yeah.
But,
No.
Yeah. Anyway, I moved to the Bay Area in 1979.
Wow.
At the time, I got a consulting contract at Visa, the credit card people in San Mateo. And I worked there for a couple of years. I was the project leader that wrote the software for the first credit card machines.
Wow.
that you see all over the world now. But I helped start that industry there. And of course, all the time I was painting. In fact, Visa put some of my paintings up in their offices at the time.
Sweet.
So, anyway, I left Visa after a few years, went out and did consulting all over Silicon Valley. I helped create some of the big credit card networks that interchange all the credit card stuff. Very technical stuff.
So you're probably loving seeing the chip being integrated now into the credit cards.
Yeah, they were talking about that almost when
Way
I
back,
was
yeah.
way back then.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Interesting.
I eventually formed my own company, and it was a software company. Basically, what it did was what the little credit card machines do, would do on a PC or a Mac. I was a Mac nut at the time. I actually started on the Mac. And I formed my own company, and it was very successful but small, and then I sold it out in 1999. So I was going to start another company, and then the dot-com bust came. And so I said, I'm just going to go paint full-time for a while. I've never looked back.
So that was 1999?
I sold the company in 99, but I didn't get totally out till like 2001 or so.
And were you from the Bay Area? You said, where were you from again?
Well, I grew up in Pasadena and Texas.
In Texas?
Yeah.
Where in Texas?
A little town called Big Sandy in
Interesting.
rural East Texas, way out in the middle of nowhere, the piney woods.
Interesting. Yeah, I have family that moved from Texas to LA, so it's kind of interesting that a lot of people did that, I think. And then,
yeah, well, my dad was a minister and they moved him around, and that's where they moved
Wherever
him.
the ministerial
a
job
kid.
was,
Yeah.
right? So tell us about your art. And we have some behind us that's beautiful, but I'm also going to pull up a slide 1. And this, I just love this, the colors in this. Tell us about this. How long does it take you to do something like this? And yeah, tell us about this.
That's Glacier Point from Yosemite Valley, and it's morning light. That's not a plein air. I did that as a studio painting. But when you're in Yosemite, in the early morning, the light just shines right on that point. And it's one of my favorite paintings because it kind of it just got all the right values on it, at least to me.
The color's beautiful. Yeah, the lighting is beautiful. So it's a morning setting. Mm-hmm. And is this one sold, or is this one?
I have that in my bedroom right now.
Okay, okay. Well, we can't talk about price. We can pull that down. We can't talk about price, but
sure.
But
yeah.
So how long did it take you to produce that? You said so it was from a picture then that you took, or?
I've done a lot of plein air in Yosemite Valley, and it's based on that. I don't know if I painted from that exact spot, but I've done lots of Glacier Point similar to that.
Okay.
So.
So when you're not painting a plein air one, which that one wasn't plein air, does it just come to your mind what it was, or do you actually have a picture of it that you?
Picture and reference paintings.
And reference.
Yeah, every painting I do is based on a place I've been, places I've painted. I may change the scene around a little bit, but it's pretty much what I saw when I was there.
So that one's not for sale because it's in your bedroom, where people can call you and say,
well,
"Hey,
they can call
you
me,
like
yeah.
that one? It's beautiful." I could see some postcards made out of it. And,
sure,
yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Let's pull up the second one too, and I think I've never been to Santorini. I've been to Greece, but not Santorini. This is beautiful. So did you paint this one outside, or?
My wife and I like to cruise.
Oh.
So we did a Mediterranean cruise, and we can talk a little bit about this later, but I always bring a little paint kit with me. And whatever I can steal away from the crowds, the groups that we go with, I'll do a painting. And Santorini is just beautiful.
The lighting?
I did 2 paintings that day.
Wow.
And then this one here is actually, the studio version of one that I did there, but it's fairly close to the original, but
okay.
it is.
We can pull that down. And so how long did it take you to paint that one? Is that a couple hours, 4 hours? Is that
a studio painting that size, a few days.
A few days?
Picasso had it right. When people ask you how long it took you to do a painting, generally, like in my case, I'll say it took me 40 years to do that painting. Because it's accumulation of 40 years of experience and practice and things like that. And generally, the best paintings are the ones you do the quickest. Like the ones you labor over and keep scratching things out generally don't turn out as good as the ones that just click.
So when you started painting, what was your inspiration? What inspired you to start painting?
Well, like I said, I've drawn all my life, and I got into a computer science career, and I didn't really start painting till after college, and I was still in rural East Texas. There's not a lot to do. I don't even think I had a TV, so I got an old oil paint set out that my parents had given me when I was in high school, I think, and just started dabbling. And I would paint from calendar pictures and stuff like that.
Was it always scenery, or did you paint people too?
Pretty much landscapes. When I was smaller, I used to draw people fairly well, but I've lost that. So,
I'm sure you're probably still just as good.
I'd have to try again.
Yeah.
But I didn't really blossom, I think, till I moved back out to California, and I started painting more from life. And
so there was no formal training then, or did you take one art class in college because you had to fill that requirement?
No art classes.
No art classes.
Once I went full time, like in the early 2000s, I started taking some workshops I'd find artists that I really admire, like real famous landscape artists. And one thing is, you know, if you're starting out in art, I encourage you to take workshops, because the first workshop I took was from a famous landscape artist in Sedona, Arizona.
Wow.
Which is beautiful by itself,
Yeah.
if you've been there. And it was the very first time I ever saw a master artist actually do a painting. And when I got home, everything changed. My paintings were twice as good, I'd say, as they were before.
Was that the inspiration of watching them, or their technique that they taught you?
Just watching them.